It took almost 10 years, but we finally made it. We now have enough information about all but one of the districts to explore them all. And you know what that means? Step right up for a city-wide tour, all thanks to this oh-so-handy corridor! That's right, all 26 nests are available in a single hallway. Some of them have info about the district's culture, tech, and history, while others have less. How does this exist? Does the ring know? Is this illegal? Don't ask questions you can't handle the answers to, dear friend. Just let your friendly tour guide of ambiguous gender float you down wherever the roads take us. And of course, you all sign the waivers. Most of the tour will focus on 5 different districts, with some attention being given to all of them. Expect any info on stories from up until this date, no refunds, and Be Not Afraid Tours is not liable for any physical, mental, or emotional harm you may experience over the course of this tour. Got it? Great! So where better to start than the center? District 1, home to A Corp, and that's about it. While I'm sure there's some sort of noteworthy culture here, all we can really say about this place is that this is where the head operates. Not only do they run the entire city, but A Corp's arbiters are arguably the most threatening force in the known world. A single one was able to take down not only an existing wing, but also was involved in evicting the massive threat known as the library into the outskirts. And that's because arbiters are not only trained with the head's own tools, but with the technology of several other singularities like the fairies from F Corp. Luckily, unless you do something stupid, you shouldn't get on their bad side. It's not like it's their job to see everything, because that's District 2's wheelhouse. Much like A Corp, there isn't a ton to say about B Corp, minus the fact that it's known for their beholders. These are the members of the head that are able to keep their all-seeing eyes on you.
서둘러 끝내보자고.
How do they do that? We don't totally know yet. But they look like this and have only appeared when having to deal with the library incident. The best reference we have of them is to an abnormality called Big Bird, which literally has many eyes for seeing what happened as a guardian of its forest. But considering that's an abnormality, we could as easily chalk that up to symbolism. On that note, A Corp also has its own symbolic bird abnormality called the Judgment Bird, and I made fan art of it so it looks like Mater from Cars. Here, check it out.
Stop it.
Everyone's a critic these days. And while we're at it, there's another bird in this trio, which is connected to C Corp and District 3, home of the Claw. If the arbiters are your generals or special forces, then the claws are the foot soldiers of the head. Don't let that analogy fool you though, they're on a similar scale. Claws act more like the head's muscle and weaponry, and also make use of several chemicals from different singularities, like K Corp, R Corp, and W Corp. Because if a workshop hasn't responded to the head's kind request for payment after 3 letters, they'll be rewarded with one of these guys on their doorstep.
It's me, Goku!
Much like A and B though, there isn't much else to say about C Corp or District 3 outside of their involvement with the head. I mean, as a collective, they make up the bulk of the head's arsenal. There's even a story of how those 3 birds that are based off of them merged into a giant super bird to save their forest home. I mean, kinda sucks for them because it didn't go well and led to their black forest going empty, but life's too short to dwell on failure, right? Because we've got District 4, which has the Dark Forest. No relation, though that is noteworthy since this is where Dante was born. Aside from that, there are a few scraps about this place. It's home to the color fixer, the Grass Maiden, even if we don't know what they look like. And it's where a lot of the G Corp veterans of the Smoke War relocated after it ended. By the way, weren't there more of you here a second ago?
Sure has been a while, Captain.
It can't be too important. You know, like District 5. Look, a lot of these central districts are pretty tight-lipped about what they're involved with right now. Or I've got some kinda mental block keeping me from remembering what's inside of them. Either way, you signed the waiver. No refunds. Also, E Corp was one of the wings that fought in the Smoke War. Probably. What's the Smoke War? Let me get back to you on that when we reach L Corp, okay? Now, at the very least, F Corp has something noteworthy to share. Their singularity, the Fairy, is a tool found in District 6 that can be used to unlock anything. One renowned distortion detective makes use of one of these babies to get into quite a few places for her investigations. The only thing is that they need to be recharged every so often, which can get expensive fast. And lest we forget, arbiters use these things too, because while they have several ways to undo locks in their line of work, the Fairy is particularly useful for unlocking people, whatever that means. What does that mean? Maybe it's got something to do with getting them past any lies they tell themselves? One way to find out. Aw, come on, champ! Can't live in denial forever! And that writhing is just so pitiful. Oh, it is familiar. Reminds me of, You're just like the cockroaches from G Corp. Yes, G Corp. Not to be confused with the other wing in District 7, G Corp. This is one of the few districts that's gone through several wings as of late. The old G Corp specialized in genetics, creating soldiers merged with cockroach parts for additional combat prowess. Which I guess I can see their reasoning, since cockroaches are supposed to be really hard to kill. But that also came with a downside, that being most of the subjects having their face altered. Minus one case of ungrateful nepotism. And since these were soldiers, you can bet they fought in that wacky smoke war. They also lost and were subsequently thrown to the side, like those little fellas from D Corp. And unfortunately, it isn't easy for someone with a roach face and a history of violence to find gainful work these days. So rather than incorporate any kind of welfare, could you imagine? We push out with the old and in with the new. This shiny singularity of the new G Corp here can manipulate gravity, with uses such as making workshop gear lighter and heavier on command, or affecting bullets. And popping over to District 8, there's almost nothing here.
자, 변신 완료?
Yes, Honglu, I know an H Corp rep once visited your home. No, that's not going on the official tour guide, because neither is H Corp. See, they got one too many unanswered letters from A Corp, and were awarded a less than friendly visit from an arbiter for their trouble. Now we may never know what that place is like. Oh, but there is a tradition in District 8 where they give people apples on Christmas Eve. Maybe ask your gloomy friend about that when he gets back. Where is he, anyway? Oh, duh, he didn't pay for a ticket! Sorry, I shouldn't rob your time with meaningless questions. I should be telling you more about I Corp, which is just as meaningless. I mean, other than the fact that they were in the
Smoke war.
However, District 9 was home to an incredible concert from the first major recorded distortion in history, The Pianist. Not only did he manage to wipe out 80% of District 9's population, but he absorbed about 100,000 people into his piano. That's over 2 million bones shoved into a single instrument. That performance, as marrowing as it was harrowing, made the backstreets of District 9 into the streets of music, and inspired the creation of imitators like the musicians of Bremen, dedicated to recreating the pianist's sound. Of course, the Black Silence cleaned up the mess in the end, but the remaining 20% of the population won't soon forget it. But if you somehow wanted to forget something, District 10 could help you out. And let me tell you, oh, it is nice to finally come to an S that has more than a fun fact or two to say about it. Welcome to the District of Gambling. District 10 is the place to hit up casinos to test your luck, or you could get a bit of extra help from a fortune teller and get yourself access to wish power. Luck manifested as a resource. Slap on a sticker made up of your own prosperity, or steal it from someone else, and you could be walking on Easy Street.
이번 한압은 치명적이었어.
The hell you mean it doesn't make sense? Just call it monetizing fate. Or as J Corp would call it, cheating. Because a casino district with luck as money is sure as hell gonna crack down on people manipulating that nonsense. That's why each casino is rigged with cameras and call centers of people watching players' every move. It's a thankless job that would make you consider eloping with a clown as a way out, but at the end of the day, it works. And if it doesn't, J Corp's got backup contracts and the UFI Association to help enforce them. Yeah, turns out those guys were mentioned a long time ago. But what's a casino if not a bank with extra steps? And every bank has gotta hide its goods one way or another. That's where J Corp Singularity comes in. This wing can make a lock for just about anything. You've got small ones for safes, big ones for whole buildings, and even locks for people. Because we're not just talking about your regular piddly padlock nonsense. Just like with F Corp's Ferry, this is more about the concept of a lock than a literal hunk of metal. You want to lock a body so it can't be dissected? Easy breezy. You want to lock away someone's ability to tell secrets or even be aware of them? J Corp's gotcha. Heck, you could even lock away someone's ability to think about violence, like so. That being said, those mental locks will only affect the person's own will. So if someone happens to be able to control or access your thoughts while locked without your consent, then it may as well be dead weight. And you know what you do with dead weight, right? And now we're finally at the first of the 5 major districts of this tour. Welcome to District 11, the melting pot of the city. At place? That's what I like to call it. Because while this place has its own wing worth talking about, it's got deep connections to L Corp, T Corp, and N Corp, plus a lovely little village that has this cafe that got some pretty good reviews from renowned food critic Momo. But on to K Corp itself, their singularity is a little something called Hella Poiesis, much better known as HP, that comes in the form of bullets, ampules, and even the tears of an innocent child. It's like a big reset button for injuries. You get your arm lopped off, and a bit of this hella piss will make it like that never even happened. And as a new wing, K Corp's HP quickly caught on in the health industry, private militaries, and even in fast food. Because who doesn't like the idea of infinite chicken wings that endlessly regenerate? And if that's not enough, I just got off the phone with a company representative, Samjo, who is just going off about K Corp's kind 70-hour workweek system before going for his daily swim. What more could you ask for? Well, unfortunately, some degenerate out there did have a grievance. After one of K Corp's higher-ups was cucked by a cow, a leak came out about their singularity that is both forbidden to share and hearsay. So with that in mind, I'll now go on record saying there's no way that K Corp gets this magic healing juice from a child that has to be shown sad things to cry endlessly. That would mean they'd have to import footage of terrible things happening from other districts or even alternate dimensions to force it to cry in our stead. And you totally shouldn't pick up any of that footage sitting in a pile over there as a souvenir. Or keep track of the affiliated wings around for that matter.
친구 아니에요.
What? Come again?
우리 가족들을 죽였어요.
Oh, your childhood home is here? Well, that's great, sweetie. Well, if you're feeling homesick, I can show you another place that recently burned to the ground.